there needs to be. We have no revenue source. You can't get the revenue from unemployed people. Unemployment's going to keep rising. So you've got to tax the rich. They're the only people who are going to have any money.
Repeal the he can still repeal them trying to extend the tax cuts. So those are going to expire. So there's an automatic wealthy person raise in taxes right there.
Yeah, I'm just saying though, it's not going to be enough.
I don't see. The thing is, theoretically, it'd be better with Democrats, but they weren't really going to do any of that stuff anyway. I mean, why haven't they done? There's so many simple things they could have done already. You know, they just weren't going to do it. So in theory, it'd be better, but in practice, I don't think so. It's better for him to be able to play
Oh yeah,
politics.
no, I know. I mean, I almost, like I said, that's why I was completely apathetic about the whole thing. I mean, there was no point in Obama winning and having a huge congressional majority when they didn't do one motherfucking thing for the last 2 years. What they do? They pass some wacky healthcare plan that's just doesn't, steals from the poor to give to the middle class. I mean, what's the fucking point of that? So, I mean, they have accomplished absolutely nothing.
Maybe that's what they want. Maybe it's all by design.
Warthog, you can make a difference. For example, a couple years ago, we fought locally here to get public financing to actually use the money people voluntarily put into the public financing fund, even though there's no laws to use it. We passed that. Then we just ran a candidate that my girlfriend was the campaign manager for, and she won, by the way. So that's just a county position. Oh, but the county spends wastes 300, well, not all of it, but wastes mostly $300 million a year. That could make a real difference. There's 160,000 people in this county, $300 to $400 million a year. That can make a difference. You know, most people that's paying attention to national politics don't realize it's just a celebrity thing, so they can talk to other people about politics. These guys, this is who the fucking cops work for. This is who makes the community health centers, by a street, and so on. It does make a difference. You're mistaken. I mean, it's also easy for me to rationalize because I really didn't want to see those two CEOs in California, Whitman and Fiorina, and they lost. So Whitman spent $190 million of her own money, lost, and that proves she isn't a very good money manager, actually.
It is kind of spooky, because these people don't even look like they have a plan anyway. It's like you spend that kind of money to get in to do what? I mean, we had a rich guy on the other side. We had a Democrat, Corzine, and he spent a ton of money, so he got to be governor, and yeah, he didn't get shit done either.
Corrupt Democratic Party here about 10 years ago fell out of power, gave the governorship, but 90% or more of the state houses were still Democrat, but because the Democratic machine had been in power 50 years and they were really corrupt. But now it's sort of been refreshed. We have a lot of, I happen to know the people that are the representatives a little bit, and they actually are decent people with, I mean, there's all politician to them a little bit, or they couldn't survive. But I mean, we're doing pretty good with the Democrats. So I did okay because California went Democrat and Hawaii went Democrat, and it was supposed to be close, and it wasn't even close. I mean, our governor was barely, looked like he might lose, Abercrombie, and he won by like 17% or something.
No, Paul, you can't laugh at your own jokes, especially really bad ones.
Pot. What the fuck is going on in California? How could that pot initiative not pass? What are they thinking? And they're voting for Jerry Brown. They're voting against the pot initiative, and the fucking medical growers are all against it. That was annoying. Yes, I know nobody was speaking about pot, but I just thought it was a good segue.
Well, that sort of just points out the, the duplicity in all of this crap, all these hidden agendas. You know, the medical growers, yeah, when it's just for their advantage, their, feather their nest. No one cares about any principles here. It's just so irritating. And the pot smokers just want the right to smoke. They don't want that. Again, it's not about any kind of real liberty issue. Because they don't want to take any responsibility.
It's just so overdue, and in a drug-addled society with more and more pharmaceuticals, and alcohol as strong as ever, and it's just time. Come on, and these baby boomers said they were going to have it done in the 70s, and now they're in power, and they're like, oh no, actually no, because I have a career, and oh no, because I'm a very wealthy. Because the thing with this medical pot is the price of pot has barely gone down. These guys are making this exorbitant black market kind of price. It's just incredible, the profit margin. Those guys don't want to give that up.
I just don't see anything good coming of this idea that you could just make all this stuff legal. It's like gambling. Has gambling done the world some good? I don't think so. So I mean, it might be a liberty and all that crap, but I see nothing to celebrate in it.
I'm libertarian on this issue. I believe that all drugs pretty much should be legalized, but I see pragmatic reasons to argue against it. But in the case of pot, it's really very practical. Like the rise in they have ice here, just a form of meth. It's just crazy how much that's spread, and it's been the drug war when it focused on pot. It raises up things like crank, and drugs that and huffing paints and all these other drugs that are really, really bad for you. So I mean, I think it would take an edge off of the general drug problem to legalize at least marijuana. And in principle, I think it should be more as a personal liberty thing, but as a pragmatic thing, I can't say it would actually have a good result directly, but with pot, I think it would, because it's going to take the edge off of all these other drugs that.
Well, how you going to deal with the legal issue? Because until they come up with something, like say you have a responsible job, and let's say you drive a bus, and you got really wasted Sunday night, and you showed up Monday for work, and you had an accident, and had nothing to do with you being stoned, let's say even. But the fact is that that's going to be the testimony, is that you were wasted out of your fucking mind, lampshade, stonedy, crazy person. And, whatever the silly story is going to be. Let's say you were drunk, too. Drunk and stoned.
Well, it's funny
well, how are we going to deal with it? I'm just saying, how are you going to deal with those real problems? Because aren't there going to be some people who are going to have to be told that, no, you're not allowed to be a user 3 days before you have to work, or some other circumstance? I mean, I don't want people, burnt out flying their airplane, with a fucking, headache and, feeling a bit, less than top notch. I mean, look, pot is kind of smooth, but I mean, you do burn out. I mean, you do, you know, there is a little bit of a hangover. You know, I mean, the problem is alcohol is really easy, okay? I mean, alcohol, you can not only do it through the breathalyzer, which gives you a pretty good indication, but you also have blood tests that are really accurate. But alcohol, you know, THC is not the same kind of chemical. It's a little trickier. And so I'm just saying, what are we gonna do? Like I said, if some guy kills my kid and he's, you know, even if he's stoned and he's innocent, but I mean he was stoned, I'm gonna blame him being stoned. I mean it's gonna be too easy for me to blame that and say, God damn it, what do you let these fucking guys get stoned for?
I think that kind of thing will happen, but I just whatever. The guy drinking the night before with the hangover driving the bus is probably should be more, um, that the link should be made strongly there, and the idea that oh well you take a pot test and it shows if you've smoked in the last month. We just have to get over that. I mean, but you're right. People will definitely use that because the prohibitionists will have that available to them as their last ditch effort. But I think it'll be hard once it's legal for 10, 15 years for them to really do anything about that.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying I don't like the idea of it. That's all. Because I've seen too many of my friends. They were reckless assholes. They didn't give a fuck about anybody else or being responsible, and that part just pisses me off. I mean, you know, if people don't deserve liberty who aren't going to take it seriously, and if they're not going to give a fuck, then yeah, what you know, I don't know. I'm just saying I just don't think this is a win for society. So that's why I'm for it, but I'm against it. I mean, I'm for it as a practical, pragmatic, yeah, just do it. But I can't say anything good about it. Well, as you say, it doesn't have to be prohibition. You know, you know, so yeah, I mean, decriminalization would be good. I don't think they should put anybody in jail for it. They should have fines and other things. Um, so, I mean, that should be the first step, I guess, is to take the criminality out of it.
Yeah, well, they kind of did that preemptively in California. Schwarzenegger did, trying to take the steam off of Prop 19. So, and that's what we have here. There's been an initiative passed that the county police, and we have no city, it's just county police, have to take it as a low priority. But they don't really follow it, but it has had an impact. Um, uh, it's illegal, but we don't prioritize enforcement, which I think is a little screwed up, but it does allow for if there was a problem for them to deal with it. It's just that that's not how they're going to use it.
Yeah, well, like I said, I would almost prefer a half solution like that because then at least you can still use the law if you really, if you got some kind of habitual, you know, asshole showing up into court just, hey, dude, get off my back, man, get off my back, you know, some kind of bullshit, and and he's a repeat offender, then yeah, maybe you should still have some law in place to fuck with that guy.
What they'll do is they'll let some cop off that's been found with it, but they won't let off, some guy that's doing something else that's pissed them off, or that's trying to get a permit to have a noisy thing where they don't want it, and they'll just use it to pile on. Meanwhile, this guy that had this cannabis ministry here that got busted by the feds, they're probably not even going to try him on it. They'll try him on tax evasion or something, so he doesn't even get his day in court, and then they won't even give him bail. I mean,